Raise your hand if you'd answer yes to this question. Keep your hands up, and let's see what creative things you like to do. Do you like to write, draw, sing, dance, design clothes, build stuff, solve problems? If you like doing lots of creative things, raise both your hands. Look around at all that creativity. When kids are asked this question, we all raise our hands. When adults were asked this same question, guess how many raised their hands? Does that mean half the kids here today will stop being creative at some point in our lives? I hope not, because I think we're born creative. It's part of who we are. And it's not just us. Did you know animals are creative too? This bowerbird is an interior decorator. He decorates his nest with flowers, rocks, twigs, and fruit. This is Congo, one of the first chimpanzee artists. Congo made over 400 paintings, and here's one of my favorites. Animals are creative in lots of ways, but as far as we know, humans may be the only storytellers on planet Earth. And that's the part of creativity I want to talk about today, storytelling. I began my first novel when I was 6. It was about a girl who loved chestnuts, but knew she could only have 3 chestnuts a day, or something terrible would happen. I wish I could tell you what happened next, but I never finished the story. About a year later, I started another novel. It was about a girl who woke one morning to find a cloud castle hovering high above her house. Cloud people floated down and took over the city. I wish I could tell you what happened next, but I never finished the story. This went on for 3 years. 3 years may not sound like a long time, but I was 9, so 3 years was a third of my life. It was discouraging, but it turns out a lot of great writers have the same problem. Before I wrote the Potter books, I never finished a novel, J.K. Rowling. So, when I was 9 and a half, I started another novel. It was about a girl named Lillian. One day, her sister disappears through a magical portal into an ancient world, a world filled with dragons and chimeras. To save her sister, Lillian sneaks into the monster world, where she learns a terrible secret. I wish I could tell you what happened next, but you'll have to read the book yourself. That's right, you can read the book because I finished it. And when I was 12, I finished the sequel. But wait a second. After spending a third of my life not finishing a novel, how did I finish these 2? I met a lot of kids at book festivals and schools. Kids who, like me, have started all kinds of stories, but just couldn't seem to finish. They kept asking me, how did you do it? And I kept thinking, yeah, how did I do it? I mean, what was different this time? I'm 13 now, so I've had a lot of time to think about that. I've talked it over with my family and some other writers. So now when kids ask, how did you do it? I have a few ideas, which I call Medusa's Guide to Novel Writing. Medusa's a character in my novel, but she comes from Greek mythology. Medusa has snakes instead of hair, and she's so scary that if you look into her eyes, you turn to stone. Literally. There are a lot of different versions of the Medusa story, but the one I like best comes from a 1981 film called Clash of the Titans. Here's the basic story. Perseus is in love with Andromeda. Unfortunately, in a few days, Andromeda will be sacrificed to the big green sea monster called the Kraken. To stop the Kraken from eating Andromeda, Perseus will need to find Medusa. But to find Medusa, he'll need a good plan, because Medusa lives in a dark temple, which is guarded by a ferocious 2-headed dog. So Perseus will need a lot of help, too. But what does all this have to do with novel writing? A lot, actually. Nearly everything I learned about finishing a novel can be found in this story. First of all, do it for love. Perseus loves Andromeda. The adventure begins with love, and love keeps it going when things get tough. The same is true for your novel. If you don't love the story and the characters, will you really spend a year or more writing, rewriting, and editing? Probably not. So look through all your story ideas. Pick the one you love most. That's the one to write. Ray Bradbury wrote over 600 stories. What was his secret? Write only what you love and love what you write. Step 2, get a lot of help. Perseus loves Andromeda. But is love going to stop the Kraken from eating her? No. Perseus needs more than love. He needs help. He gets a lot of great advice: an invisibility helmet, a shield, and a sword that can cut through almost anything. Like Perseus, you'll need a lot of help too. First, find a mentor, an experienced and trusted advisor, someone who can help and encourage you along the way. Try to find someone who knows a lot about writing. That way they can act as your editor too. Your mentor might be a parent, family member, teacher, or friend. We think of novel writing as a one-person job, but it's not. A great editor makes the books far better than they would otherwise be. John Green. Every novel I tried to write on my own, I didn't finish. When I started The Monster Realm, I asked my dad to be my mentor, and that made a big difference. Put together a support group too. Tell your parents, brothers, sisters, and friends that you're writing a novel. Ask them to cheer you up when you feel like quitting. My mom encouraged me every day, and my sister, this is true, did all my chores to give me more time to write. Like Perseus, I had a lot of help. Step 3, make plan A. So Perseus is doing it for love, and he's getting a lot of help. Now he needs a plan. I call this Plan A. For Perseus, Plan A goes something like this: sneak up on Medusa and chop off her head. Then take Medusa's head and hold it up to the Kraken. The Kraken takes one look and turns to stone. So Perseus sails to Medusa's island, but as soon as he gets there, he's attacked by a two-headed dog who sounds the alarm. Now Medusa knows he's here. So Plan A was a fail. But it got Perseus moving, and that's what mattered. To get your story moving, make a rough outline. This can be a lot of fun, because there are all different kinds of ways to do it. For example, all you may need is a one-page outline: how the story starts, what more or less happens in the middle, and how it ends. Or maybe a detailed chart would help, like this one J.K. Rowling used to organize Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Remember, your Plan A outline is going to change, so don't spend too much time on it. It's just meant to get your story moving. Step 4, first draft, write fast. Thanks to Plan A, Perseus is on Medusa's island and defeats the two-headed guard dog. Now what? Medusa knows he's here. She's waiting for him in the dark temple. If he thinks about it too long, he's going to get discouraged. Instead, he needs to commit right now, 100%. And the only way to do that is to step into Medusa's dangerous temple. The same is true for your novel. It's time to commit. Dive in and write your first draft as fast as you can, in 30 days or less. It sounds impossible, but trust me. I got this idea from National Novel Writing Month, and it works. Make a commitment to write 1,000 words a day for 30 days straight. No rewriting allowed. Just follow your Plan A outline and write as fast as you can. If new ideas pop into your head, that's great. Make them part of your 1,000 words. At the end of a month, you'll have a rough, messy, sloppy first draft. But that's okay. In fact, you should celebrate. My first draft was a disaster. But my family went out to dinner the day I finished. Why? Because a first draft is a turning point. Like Perseus stepping into Medusa's temple, you're committed. Step 5, make Plan B. Perseus loses the invisibility helmet, which would have come in handy. So what's he going to do? In the dark temple, waiting for Medusa, Perseus considers all his options and comes up with Plan B. Instead of attacking Medusa, he uses the shiny inside of his shield like a mirror. That way he can see Medusa without actually looking at her. It's a good plan because it's based on his actual situation. The same is true for your novel. This is where you rethink everything you've done and come up with Plan B, which has 2 parts. Part 1, read your first draft and make a new, detailed outline which you'll use to rewrite your novel. Sit down with your mentor and travel through the story. Does it all make sense? What new scenes or chapters should you add? Does the ending work? Are the characters believable? Once you're satisfied with your new outline, it's time to move on to part 2, schedule. Set aside a specific amount of time to write, even if it's only an hour a day, but stick to it. I know it's a big time commitment, but here are some numbers to think about. According to recent studies, many kids and teens spend 6 to 9 hours a day on media. TV shows, movies, video games, music, email, texting. I like all those things too. But if we spend hours a day watching stuff, we won't have time to create stuff of our own. Take an honest look at how you're spending your time. Add it up. If you're like me, you'll find you have enough time to do a lot of creative things, including finishing a novel. Step 6, fight Medusa. Perseus is ready to put Plan B into action. Hiding behind a stone pillar, he sees Medusa sneaking up behind him and chop, cuts off her head. Then he takes her head and puts it in a sack. Yuck. For your novel, putting Plan B into action means one thing: rewriting. I compare rewriting to fighting Medusa because I think it's the hardest part. A lot of writers feel the same way. Books aren't written, they're rewritten. Michael Crichton. This is where you shape your story, not just each chapter, not just each scene, but each sentence. This is where you work on the characters, the dialogue, the pacing. This is also where your mentor or editor needs to be really honest with you. They should ask you a lot of questions and tell you if something isn't working. And when you're done rewriting, and rewriting, and rewriting some more, you'll have a final draft, except it won't really be final. Step 7, finally the Kraken. You forgot about the sea monster, didn't you? But the thing is, after all Perseus had been through, after Medusa, defeating the Kraken is almost easy. He pulls Medusa's head out of the sack and holds it up. The Kraken takes one look and turns to stone. For your novel, the Kraken is like all the errors hiding in your story. So the last step is to hire a professional proofreader. When I finished my final draft, I asked my family to read it. They found a lot of mistakes. I fixed everything and sent that to a professional proofreader. And guess what? She found over 200 more mistakes. That's why you need a professional. I fixed all those errors, and it was time to celebrate again because I had my final draft. Remember how I spent 3 years not finishing a novel? I think it was because finishing a novel felt like this huge, impossible task, like defeating a sea monster. But when you break it down, the monster really isn't that big. So that's how Perseus beat Medusa and the Kraken, step by step. And that's how I finished 2 novels. Whatever your creative dream is, whether it's writing a novel or singing like Adele or traveling to Mars, no matter how hard it is, do it for love, have a plan, get a lot of help, work on it every day, and don't give up. It's important because only you can create the things you are going to create. The one thing that you have that nobody else has is you. Your voice, your mind, your story, your vision. So write and draw and build and play and dance and live as only you can. Neil Gaiman. Remember this question? Raise your hand if you're creative. Look around. By the time we're adults, will half of us lower our hands? I hope not. Let's take a pledge. With your hands raised, repeat after me. I promise. My future self. That I will never turn to stone. That I will stay creative. My whole life. I can't wait to see what you're going to create. Thank you.